Catch the Free American weekdays at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern.
Learning public school and did our fathers off of history, all fighting back for liberty so we could play the tyrant fool.
For the podcast and more details, visit www.freeamerican.com or catch the podcast by phone by calling 832-999-8621.
Then church serves to the slave, overburdened and bewildered feudal.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American. I'm your host. I'm Clay Douglas, the Free American, and you can check out more of that. Make a donation, freeamerican.com. My guest today is Paul Topete, leader of the band Pokerface, and putting on a new gig here, a new Freedompalouza. Hello, Paul. How are you?
Good morning, Clay. How are you doing, sir?
Well, I'm doing pretty good for an old guy.
All good, man.
And, yeah, another birthday coming up this month. Son of a gun. Finally going to coincide with my YouTube and my Facebook, Free American 69. I'll finally be able to tell somebody what that 69 means. That's how old I am. Wasn't that way 5 years ago, but Paul, how many Freedompaloozas does this one make?
This will be the fifth one, but the first one was perfect.
And your last one, we got something in common. You, one of your speakers there wasn't with us this year. And I'm just wondering if it was from the Freedompalooza he did with you. Of course, I'm talking about James Traficant. Or whether it was the show he did with me, and 2 weeks or so after he did my show, he was killed in a tractor accident in his barn all by himself.
Yeah, nobody's beyond by now right now.
I find that awful suspicious also.
Yeah, no.
But I believe I had another guest that's going to be there. And that's Jim Condon Jr., who's running, opposing the current minority leader, I guess, of Congress. Is that true? Is he going to be one of your speakers?
He's definitely going to be their speaker. I didn't know that he was running in Congress, man. That's cool.
Well, he and Traficant were working on something together, and maybe that was the reason he was targeted, or maybe somebody just didn't like ex-cons.
Right.
Well, tell me about what's going on. Tell me who you're going to have here.
We're gonna have it's gonna go international this year. We're gonna have Paul from Canada. For those who don't know him, he's Mr. First Amendment Canada. We have Brother Andrew Carrington Hitchcock. He's supposed to come from England. He wrote the book called Synagogue of Satan. Hold on.
Any opposition here? Are you getting any opposition to putting this on? By the usual suspects.
Yeah, usually they chime in towards the end of the month. As of right now, so far no, because this is the fifth one, and they gave us a lot of grief through the first three. We'll see how it goes towards the end of the month, but I won't be surprised if they drop the usual love hate for us. But other people that are coming to the party will be Mark and Nancy Karki. We have Wayne Madsen coming from Florida, from the Wayne Madsen Report. Jimmy Joe Zoli, Cindy Steele. Karen Kwiatkowski is supposed to make a return this year. That's the Assistant Attorney General of Pennsylvania, retired. His name's Stolberg. He did a book called Obama Crimes. And I don't know, a bunch of names you probably wouldn't know of. Ernst Pierce, Trevor Labonte, Tara Elizabeth Baptista. People that I know that tell the truth and have the stories to tell all of it. And they talk about everything from our food getting screwed with to, like you said, Jim Condon. He's running on the American Freedom platform that he was doing with Jim Tropica, and he should be coming back and letting us know where that's at. I'm hoping to have someone from the USS Liberty there. At least somebody that will be speaking. Merlin Miller will definitely be there. You're familiar with Merlin, right? Right.
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm right here. Just got a little bit of, what's going on with those boys? Okay. Okay. We're looking for, what's going on here? Skype is, we got Blog Talk up there. Alright, everything's supposed to be working here. I'm not sure, I got a little note that our engineers are working on a solution for the audio file issue.
Okay.
I don't know what the hell that means. It looks like we're on everything, but we're also on Veterans Truth Network now, and we're up on PSYOP.
What does that mean?
That's a PSYOP operation. That's a false flag. It's what they do when they're. That's what 9/11 was, a PSYOP, to make us think that the Muslims were doing something wrong, that Osama bin Laden blew up 9/11 when it was really the Israelis. It's a PSYOP. It's a PSYOP operation by.
I told him these 4 sites, and he said that there's a lot of these disinformation sites out there.
Yeah, and one of those might be Veterans Today, but they've got some good articles. Good propaganda is 90% truth. And then they do the 10%. Veterans Today, for instance, has done really good reporting, talking about the Jewish issues. And then they come up to Jade Helm, and they go, oh, no, don't worry about that. Just an operation. It's just a thing.
That's why I told him I had an issue with Veterans Today right now, but that was my opinion, and I had my right to have that opinion.
Yeah, they've got a lot of good authors, and a lot of the people that are on Veterans Truth Network were on Veterans Today.
Yeah.
And then they got kicked off when they disagreed with the whole Jade Helm issue.
That's what I told him.
You're right. A lot of intrigue here, Paul. What happened to the good old days when the music was being played on the radio? You know, I've always gone through kind of a little head trip. I'm a Vietnam era veteran because I didn't go to Vietnam, but I volunteered. I volunteered for Special Forces. I wanted to go. I wanted to defend our Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I just didn't realize that how many domestic enemies we had, and that every plank in the Communist Manifesto that we were supposedly fighting in Vietnam were intact in America today.
That's right.
But the music that we did, I mean, I sold peace symbols, peace on the earth, peace over the flag, to 7-Elevens, to Kmart's, to Spencer's Gifts, to every head shop in the country. But God help you if you said anything against any of the Vietnam vets around me, because this old biker would knock you out. And I don't know if you heard of what's happened here. They've gone after the bikers in Texas. I hadn't been back in Texas for a year. And down in Waco, we had Waco 2. And this time they shot 9 bikers and wounded about 17 all total. What was that all about? They said it was a biker war. The press said it was a biker war. It wasn't.
Yeah, what was it?
Well, it was an attack on the bikers. They just set them up and shot them. So they had a fight. Who started it? Who knows? The clubs went out on the parking lot of the Twin Peaks restaurant, and somebody fired a shot. Who knows? They had half a dozen undercover officers there. They had snipers on the roof. And it turned into the Twin Peaks parking lot turned into a killing field. They killed 9 people and wounded a dozen others or more.
Should have higher collateral damage, man, but they didn't get as many as they wanted.
What's that?
I think they were going for a higher collateral damage, a lot more people.
Well, they got that. They arrested 170 people and put $1 million bond on them. Then the most recent news on that is some judge somewhere. The people that put the bond on him, was a justice of the peace. He ain't qualified to do that. He can't issue $1 million bond. And then they offered to let him go. We'll let you go if you sign off on this. And you don't, you agree not to sue the city of Waco for what they did to you.
Oh, man. This is horrible.
And coming on the eve of Jade Helm, I find it awfully suspicious.
How about Michael Collins Piper's death, man?
Yeah, Michael Collins Piper is dead too. Also, Grandma's dead. I don't know. Grandma was on my show for almost 20 years. The wealthiest woman in the world, the Durham Trust, controller of the Durham Trust, and she was kidnapped. She was hospitalized. She was done this. This was done to her. This was done to her. And she never got her money. Never got her money, and they killed her on December, I believe, 6th.
Yeah, this has been bad.
What do you know about Piper, Michael Collins Piper? He was young. He was only in his 50s.
55. Just that he had gotten moved out of the place that he was in years prior from a fire, and you got to wonder if that was a setup. And then when he's vulnerable, you know, he wasn't in the best of shape, but you know, he's definitely turning a leaf and getting better. And I know that he was positive about future work. That's the third one for me, man. First one being Edgar Steele. That was beginning of September. They murdered him in Victorville. And then the guy that reported Tropicont's death sounded like he was reporting in, not like he was frantic that somebody had just like, you know, had a tractor fall on him. And then Michael Collins Piper in mysterious, you know, circumstances. And with Tropicant, you got to remember that anytime that people run against Hillary Clinton, like JFK Jr., they end up dead. So she'd be at the top of my list besides the Jews.
What do you see? You've been in this movement a long time. We both got into this and started in the preparedness expos that were going on. Those were closed down. How, I'm not really sure. I put on 3 expos, one in Fort Worth, one in Dallas, one in Atlanta. And of course, I got shut down.
How'd they shut you down, man?
Tried to kill me, and then canceled every source of income I had. After I survived the accident, a contrived accident, they tapped my phone. They knew exactly where I was going to be and that I was on a motorcycle. The woman that hit me was in a borrowed car with no insurance and drug charges pending, and I never saw her again, never went to court, never saw her. Had a Jewish attorney that handled my settlement, so I didn't get very much for 3 months in the hospital and a $750,000 hospital bill. And they allowed me to wake up after 3 months, the Free American went down, the radio show went down, because they kept me drugged, Halcyon, Haldol, Valium, and morphine for 3 months. I got no memory of that. I believe that was the second attempt on my life. The only mistake they made was trying to overdose an old biker.
Right.
Probably ain't gonna happen. And after I got out of the hospital, I had one motorcycle magazine that my sons had kept going, and somehow my wife was threatened, my sons were threatened, they all left, and I had the motorcycle magazine sold for $500,000, contract in hand, signed the papers on Thursday. They put a press release out on Friday, and Monday I walked into the office, and the CEO of a publicly traded company was white and shaking. I can't go through with it, Clay. I can't go through with the deal. They're threatening to impeach me from my own company. They've contacted every stockholder in the company to tell them what a right-wing radical anti-Semite you are. And as soon as that term came out, you know who's responsible.
Yeah. Kosher Nostra, baby.
I call them, I made the decision not to even call them Jews anymore because they ain't Jews. As Benjamin Friedman said, they're the so-called Jews. And as Jesus said, beware the Jews who say they're Jews but are not, or of the synagogue of Satan. So if you can't believe Jesus, you Judeo-Christians out there, you might as well change your name, call yourself, I'm a satanic Christian, thank you.
Unfortunately, Clay, most Americans these days are Jews because they have been watching their Talmud edition boxes for all of their lives, and there's no Christianity on the Talmud box. It's just straight Kabbalah, man. So they're being all turned into good little Jews, like, you know, in the living in the land of Pinocchio. Instead of turning into a Jew on the donkey, they're turning into Jews.
It is a difficult situation, and even, I believe, a former CIA director said the average individual is somehow, when he runs into a conspiracy so vast, it's difficult to believe it even exists. And that's kind of where we're at now. You got, most of your churches got Masonic cornerstones. And just a few days ago, I did the quote from Jonathan Swift, who talked about what Cornwallis told George Washington. This is how far back it goes. The Jewish religion will take over, and in 200 years you'll be working for divine world government, which will be the English Empire. So, somebody said to me, well, Clay, you're talking about the Rothschilds. Yes, I've got the history of the Rothschilds in my book, Mystery Babylon. Yes, sir, I do. Well, you said they were Jewish. And I said, well, yes. And he said, well, I thought they were German. I said, well, they were. Yeah, Rothschild were German. Bar was her name originally. And it's kind of the problem we have, you know. And I've got an article out right now that'll be going up on Facebook about who's the enemy. Hell, he's sitting next to you. He's your neighbor. If you don't talk to him, if you don't communicate with him, if you don't try to educate him about where the problem lies, then he could be your enemy. The guy that didn't pay me and didn't go through with a deal to buy Thunder Riders, I don't hold it against him. I wouldn't do business. I told him, I'm not going to sue you. I'll let you out of the deal because I wouldn't want to be in business with a chicken shit like you. You allowed a foreign entity to squelch our deal. But he actually made the right decisions as far as his company was concerned. Because to do business with me brings all of the heat of the Mossad, of the CIA, of the FBI, and all the other agencies that are controlled by the international bankers. I believe that these, all of these agencies, including Mossad, MI6, and the CIA, they all work for the bankers. It's just like Smedley Butler warned us, huh?
Right.
And Kennedy, my God, Kennedy told you there's a conspiracy out there, and today they want to badmouth you. They tried to make conspiracy theorists into a bad word. They kind of did the same thing to McCarthy. Communism's okay because some of Roosevelt's best friends were communists, but McCarthyism, that's a bad thing.
The Lemmings will never learn, man.
Sorry?
I said the Lemmings will never learn, man. They'll just keep following whatever Pied Piper goes before him. And right now we got the new Caitlyn Jenner Pied Piper. You know, transhumanism right there in the face.
You know, we keep telling the people the truth, but how did the Goethe put it? There's none so enslaved as those who falsely believe themselves to be free.
Yeah, right down from Joe. And that's where we're at, man. You got a bunch of Americans that, America, freedom, fuck yeah! Yeah. They've been sold on the words, on the hip words, man. Freedom is in every commercial. Patriots in every commercial. They've overplayed them, overused them to the point that they're meaningless. Just as the Americans saying it. Wait till China comes to collect on their debt, man.
Well, as I said to a friend of mine the other day, can you give me a date in history? A date in history when it was easy to be free. Never happened. Never been. There's always been this evil that creeps in. I mean, look at the biblical story of Satan offering Jesus all the kingdoms of the world if he'd just sell out. How many of Jesus' followers sold out?
All of them, man. United.
But you know what? I don't want to discourage or scare our listeners. It's never been easy to be free. There's and remember the Mossad's motto. I mean, they come right out and tell you our motto is warfare by deception. This is a foreign country. This ain't God's chosen people. This ain't the Israelites of old, and they've even admitted that. Their own scientists have labeled them Khazars. The Khazarian Mafia is what I call them. It's a worldwide criminal organization to rip you off and your neighbor and your children. But it can be opposed. It can be turned around if enough of us get together. If go ahead, tell me.
Yeah, just enough is enough, brother. If enough of us get together, we can make a difference. Even if it's just 1%, that will change things. But we have to be an organized, irascible minority doing it. Because right now we're very disorganized.
That's a trick. That's a trick because these people are so well financed because they print their own money. You remember Carl Klang?
Yeah.
You remember Carl Klang? He said, hey, if you can print your own money pretty soon, you can buy up the whole neighborhood.
That's right, man. Love Carl. Did you ever get confirmation on his death, though?
On his what?
On his death.
Death? Did Carl Klang die?
Yes, I've been looking into that. Is he still around or what, man?
I don't know. The last time I heard, Carl was evidently doing drugs pretty heavily. He stayed with some people up in Colorado. They had to kick him out because he was stealing from them. And he just disappeared. I mean, I've said his marriage got broke up. Sonny left him or kicked him out or something. So he wasn't around his wife, who still tried to maintain and sell his music. And I tried to get a hold of him. I sent him emails telling him to call me. He never called me. He could be dead. He could be dead. I don't know. And this is the way they do. They go in and they attack, they demonize. I mean, maybe some of this is electronic insanity. I've been reading up on that. You know, these microwaves, these smart meters, they're affecting people's thinking. Deborah Tavares has done pretty good coverage on that. Stop the Crime. And right here in Texas, almost as soon as I got back, in the same area that I was in for quite a few months, I think we had a weather war. I mean, Dallas and Fort Worth area were flooded. Quite a few people killed, a lot of property damage, millions of dollars worth of property damage done by flooding. Flooding in Texas. Trinity River overflowing. I saw pictures of cars on what we used to call the turnpike between Dallas and Fort Worth. It was underwater. All this in the same time that the attack on the bikers, the arresting of 170 motorcycle riders, not gang members at all. We'll let you out. You got $1 million bond, but we'll let you out if you sign this piece of paper. I'm reminded of the attorney. I submitted my story that I started 45 years ago. I adapted it for a screenplay for HBO for a Jewish attorney out of Santa Monica. HBO wants this, Clay. HBO wants this. But you got to sign this contract. You got to sign this contract. You got to sign this contract. Well, I read your contract, and that would give you rights on all of my everything I ever wrote for the rest of my life. I don't think I'm going to sign that contract. Thank you anyway. And now Netflix has come out with a series called Lucifer, the title of what I submitted to HBO. Nothing like what I submitted. Nothing like what I submitted. They wanted to make Lucifer into an attorney, and frankly, I've done a lot of shows talking about the foreign agents that you call lawyers that are members of the British Accredited Registry, who I guess are in charge of keeping the money flow coming to the king or queen, to the city of London.
I was going to say the real king.
So, I'm still coming out with the Lucifer series. It'll be quite different from anything Hollywood could come up with their Jewish screenwriters.
Kabbalist screenwriters.
Now, how about your band? We talked about Carl Klang. I think Carl did a wonderful job. I've got most of his music, stuff that he wrote. Got yours too. How is your music? Now, we've got the internet. When Carl was around, we really didn't have a lot on the internet. That was just getting started 20 years ago. How are you doing? What kind of you know, if I was a screenplay writer for Hollywood, if I was working with the Jews, I'd be very wealthy. I don't, and I'm not. So, what about you, Paul?
It's the same thing here, man. You either sell your soul and make a lot of cash, or you stay true to the cause and you go well in obscurity. I mean, I'm not internationally known like I could have been had we signed, but we have our integrity, and we're still known internationally, just you know, through channels of people that actually are awake and care. The disc sell. We have a new one coming out hopefully this year called Topete Pokerface. It's going to be 12 new songs, 6 of them dealing with bankers. The answer is going to be dealing with the 24 protocols of Lucifer and their children, protocols of Synagogue of Satan, and we're also going to offer up 24 points of things that we can do to make this planet a better place. And wrap it up, like we always do, with a nice big poster that you can hold in your hands, and lyrics on one side and solutions on the other side. And we just keep doing what we're doing, brother. I mean, what else is there to do until, you know, the World War part comes, or the end of this Earth Age comes? I don't know what else to be doing. Singing songs that I feel Father wants us to bring into this consciousness at this time. So that's what we do.
Well, you talk about a better world. Now, I wrote novels 45 years ago about a future United States that had abolished all laws against victimless crimes. One of your songs, maybe more, is about marijuana. And my friend Jack Hara, who I helped finance while he was writing Emperor Wears No Clothes, he said hemp could save the world. Hemp could save the world. If you were sent to a deserted island and could only take one thing with you, what should you take? And the answer was a hemp seed. Now, Colorado, when I wrote this 45 years ago, marijuana was illegal in every state. Now we've got it legal in a couple, Colorado particularly. And there are corporations that are forming to produce hemp products and hemp food. I mean, you can get hemp milk that's better for you than cow's milk. So kind of a case of you wrote songs about it, and now it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, we've been part of Normal, you know, and part of fighting for. Look, man, if a mother can choose death for a child because it's my body, I could do what I want with it, then I should be able to put in whatever I want into my body. I mean, obviously responsible for the actions that happen once you put something into your body. But as long as I am responsible, then the government shouldn't care what the hell I do because it's my right. If I want to drink gasoline, stupid that it is, but if I want to, that is my right. Or maybe I want to choose, you know, THC resin marijuana to kill my cancer instead of going through the medical G death cartel and just giving them all our money and watching your loved one die miserably through their normal cancer routines of chemotherapy, cut, slash, and burn, I call it. The witch doctors, the Jew witch doctors' method of cut, slash, and burn is chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. Dude, it's nothing has changed in 50 years ago that they murdered my grandmother and last year that they murdered my aunt. But, you know, if you choose as a free human being to do something alternative like eat a gram of THC resin to kill your cancer, oh my God, you know, let's make you the criminal. Jews aren't going to make as much money because you're growing it in your own backyard. The suffering, the competition to our pharmaceutical supplies. Oh, we got to stop this insanity. Let's just focus on the CBDs. Don't allow the THC to come to the market because that could kill the cancer. It's going to kill a $1 trillion baby we've had going for the last century.
I've interviewed the founder of Phoenix Tears.
Yeah, Rick Simpson, good brother, man.
What's that?
Rick Simpson, he's a good brother, man.
Yes.
He's an African man.
He cured all of his neighbors of cancer and cured his family from cancer, and he's, I guess, hiding out in Kosovo or someplace like that right now.
Well, he was allowed to go back into Canada.
He was?
But the last time, he was allowed to go back into Canada, but the last time I was talking to him, he was headed south, man. It was somewhere like Paraguay, where they changed the laws.
Kind of interesting that Canada can grow hemp, thousands of products. You can get seeds and products from Canada if the THC is removed. But it's the THC that is actually the good part. There's more to it than that. I won't get into that right now. But again, with your music, you're telling people the truth. But are you getting any play on AM or FM or radio? Clear Channel invited you in, played any of your music?
Oh, yeah, no, of course I'm in. Any kind of shows that we get on mainstream radio is usually some kind of like backyard band type of stuff. But that's part of the course, man. So, you know, our music reaches through different types of, you know, media, which is whether it's Facebook or Twitter or YouTube or it gets out there, gets displayed, it gets sent out there because we keep finding out where the virus is spread to and pops up and lets us know, and orders come from all over the place.
You know, I refuse to get down on this or depressed. It's
Why most exciting times on the planet?
I'm sorry?
I said, why would you? Today is the most exciting times on this planet. Prophets of old wish they were here now. So we're living through it.
You're right.
I mean,
You're right. We are making progress. More people are waking up. And yeah, we still got opposition. But I believe we're making progress. I believe people are waking up. And now it's just a matter of getting them organized and putting them together.
Yeah, and one thing that I've been pushing with my co-host Joe North Pal, our show Truth Is the New Hate, is white media. You know, I call it American no hyphen media, Christian media, you know, white media. something that isn't Jewish media, because we're never going to get played. We're never going to get paid for what we do. You know, you write books, you write screenplays, things like that should get paid on. Okay, when something happens like a 9/11, there needs to be the American media, not the Jewish media telling you the lies, but the American media telling you the truth. We like I said, we have to get organized. The better organized that we are, the quicker we can respond with the truth, somewhere that people can go for an outlet, a true outlet, because even the alternative media on the internet, a lot of it is Jewish controlled and Jewish inspired, just like Alice's Zalania Jones down there in, where's he based out of? Austin. Yeah, the Pied Piper of the Truth movement.
Well,
Come to Jews, Arizona, Hollywood. Okay, Alice, I got you.
well, there's a great example of this is the way this media covered this biker event, which was simply a coalition of clubs meeting at a restaurant. I've covered dozens of these type of meetings from coast to coast, from Miami, Florida, from Key West, all the way to LA. I've covered these meetings. I've ridden with Jay Leno on the Love Ride, where the bikers raised millions of dollars for cancer victims. It's never been an issue. We don't carry guns into restaurants. We just don't do that. Into bars, rather. We don't carry weapons into bars. And the media covered this as a biker war. It was nothing like that. It was not that. It might have been a barroom brawl. I've been in a few of those. I've taken guns, and we have told people to put their guns up and take it outside. But it wasn't 170 bikers now facing $170 million in bonds. It wasn't bikers that killed all these people. That was all done by the police. And this is another issue that I find troubling, and this is the whole militarization of the police. It's what's scary about Jade Helm, isn't it?
So, what do you think this Jade Helm is about, sir?
Well, they have had Jade Helms for 15 years. It is a training. Now, I'm telling people, don't go out and think you're going to shoot some of these soldiers. This is a psychological operation to get you used to seeing troops on the street, to see these militarized cops. But right now, these people that they're using here are from our military. These are our children. These are our brothers. These are our sons and daughters. They're not responsible for this. You need to, if I see, and I'm right in the middle of it. Now, maybe it's all an accident. Maybe it's all a coincidence, but I don't believe in coincidence. Maybe when these, I'm in Big Springs. I moved to Big Springs a few months ago. I know the mayor. I've met the mayor. I've sat in the city council meetings. The mayor has told me he'll give me anything that I want about Jade Helm. He's got tons of documentation on it. And I'm telling people, go up to, if you see the soldiers on the street in Jade Helm, starts the 15th of this month. If you see soldiers on the street, go up, shake hands with them. That'll let them know you don't have any weapons on you. Shake hands with them and say, what's this all about? What do you think this is really about? What do you think it's really about? Talk to them. Talk to your neighbors. We're not the radicals. We're not, what somebody said the other day, talking about this conspiracy theorist. They're trying to use that as a bad word. Conspiracy theorist is somebody that recognizes known liars. You know, 9/11 was a lie. They tried to. I said, man, talk about conspiracy theories. George Bush made me look like an amateur. He wanted you to believe. He wanted you to believe that an Arab in a cave in Afghanistan made the U.S. Air Force stand down.
I know, right? Amazing.
And we're also finding out these buildings were pre-wired with explosives. So in case the building started leaning, in case a hurricane come around, they could bring them down. And maybe they were brought down with nuclear weapons planted in the basements. Shaped charges.
I think it's part of that set up for the foundation to be unstable. Suitcase leak in the basement. But yeah, a friend of mine told me many years ago that most of the high rises in cities are pre-wired for demolition.
Yes. Can't have these buildings tipping over in a hurricane and damaging the other properties, can we?
No, it can't be threatening other Jewish properties, no.
But I referred to 9/11 over 10 years ago as an exaggerated case of Jewish lightning, and I was right on. And that could have been one of the reasons they tried to kill me. The other, I guess, is I have a film out called The True Face of FEMA. And I recorded Colonel John Brinkerhoff lecturing law enforcement in Albuquerque, New Mexico at Sandia Labs at the Strategic Indirect Warfare 2002.
Calling the forefathers terror?
Yeah, in case of a atomic attack, a natural disaster of significant magnitude like a earthquake along the New Madrid fault line, or a single outbreak of smallpox in a major metropolitan area, we'll need 400,000 well-armed, well-trained, organized, disciplined troops to control the American people, because some of them just won't follow orders. This is, now, I said, yeah, some of us won't line up on the Walmart parking lot to get a vaccination for a disease that's been eradicated in this country for 100 years, to take a vaccination that'll give us just a mild case of smallpox, which is exactly what vaccines are supposed to do. Some of us won't take that. That's right. And it was right after my film True Face of FEMA came out, based on this indirect warfare, 2002, that my accident happened.
The accident?
Yeah, more coincidences, huh?
You always gotta wonder, though. Nothing is a coincidence in this life. Not with any topic to deal with.
Sometime here, I've got 3 discs on this. Colonel Brinkerhoff is just one of the participants on this. I'll have to look for this and get this. And check out who the other speakers were at this indirect warfare conference. In 2002 is when I came out with this.
Yeah, so
God, it's been that many years. It's almost scary, Paul.
yeah, you wonder what they've been doing since then. You know, how many meetings you didn't get on tape? How many secrets have been told that, just setting us up for what's to come? Lining up all the right traders, firing on the ones that won't.
That's right. They've done that. They have certainly done that. And,
Yeah, so,
you know, it was Smedley Butler that interrupted this first Bush attempt at taking over this country. That was by Prescott Bush. And he was kind of following the whole Nazi line, but the Nazi wasn't the Germans. That was the Ashkenazi Jews that were right there in Germany, along with the Rothschild bankers. Who financed Hitler anyway? Who finances all of these so-called terrorist groups? Who financed ISIS? Oh, I'm sorry, let's see. Maybe I should use the real name for ISIS, which is the Israeli
Secret Intelligence Service.
Yeah. Strategic, something like that. Intelligence systems. The same ones that, you know, financed George Bush's CIA, huh?
Right, man. Same group, same people, same terrorists, man. Just relabeled, man. Relabeled for the new millennium. Al Qaeda is so old, 20th century, man. Now it's the new ISIS. And dude, and come on, the name ISIS, really? Like one of the old pagan gods of Egypt. There was also a cartoon TV show called Archer, and his spy group was ISIS. Like, they throw the shit right in your face, man.
And how many television shows actually predicted 9/11? Simpsons was one of them.
Yeah. And then the spin-off of the X-Files, that was a huge one. That one actually showed the plane going towards the towers, and then at the last minute, they took control of the plane again. I forget the name of that show. It was the three geeky guys that were into the UFOs on the X-Files. But that was pretty blatant. What is that, predictive programming?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Predictive programming.
Say, the most recent one is transgender, man. I think it was either 2007 or 2009. Stewie goes, you know, everybody knows that, you know, Bruce Jenner is a girl, you know. So, like, even like 6 years ago, the Family Guy was putting forth that message, man. So it's been something long in the works. Legitimizing the transhumanism community through a lovable face, an Olympic gold medal winner, cereal box face, you know, you ate with at your morning breakfasts, you know, the old Bruce is now the new Kate. It's just beautiful. The stranger it is, like he said, I am the new woman. Like, no, you're not a woman. Don't disgrace women by saying that you are. Sorry that you're molested probably by some old Jew up in New England where you came from. And doesn't make you a woman, but just makes you confused. And you're confusing a lot of other people out there that really need to seek help.
Well, this whole thing is warfare on American males. They don't want people like me for the role model.
Nope.
You know, the feminization, and I've had guests on that are talking about this in more detail, talking about the feminization of the American male. Homosexual too. Yeah.
And now legitimizing pedophile through the colleges. Oh, it's just another condition. Yeah.
And here's your churches. Here's your Catholic churches that are promoting pedophilia or protecting pedophiles.
Yeah, well, that was also planned too, brother. You know, it was 1920s, 1930s. People like Bella Dodd importing nothing but homosexuals, Marxists, and atheists into the seminaries. And that's what has come about because of that. So it was definitely planned. It just happened. And again, it was pushed by our favorite people, that Jews and them all. They call themselves Edomites when they're being truthful, man.
Yeah, they tried to. They just put out a thing. They're going after Alison Weir. I'm sure you know who Alison Weir, If Americans Knew, is her website. And she appeared on my show 4 or 5 times. And suddenly, and this actually came from Gilad Otzman, and I had to apologize to Gilad because I made a comment about the good Jews. What you know, is there a good Jew out there? And I thought Gilad Otzman had actually said something about this, but he put out an article called "The Jewish Voice for Peace versus Alison Weir: The Protocols of the Elders of Anti-Zion." Did you see that? Did you see how many times my name was in there?
Oh yeah, man, you're the big bad wolf, buddy. Oh my God, she went on Clay Douglas' show. She legitimized it.
You've been a repeat guest of white supremacist Clay Douglas and his hate radio show, The Free American, which you're listening to right now, folks. Clay Douglas is concerned primarily with the survival of the white race and sees malign Jewish influence everywhere. Now, his racist, anti-Jewish, anti-gay rhetoric can be found across the front pages of his multiple websites. I want to address that for a moment, because I've told you I don't care who your grandmother slept with. Don't care. And I really, if you're gay, whatever you do in your own bedroom is your business. Just don't bring it into my schools. Don't try to recruit our children. And if I'm, here's this Jewish Voice for Peace trying to protect the Jews out there. This letter was written by Rebecca Vilkelmerson, the JVP's executive director. It was sent to the 40 chapter leaders of JVP, but the letter wasn't intended to be publicized. Now, what is wrong with me as a white man wanting to protect and promote and tell the truth about the Caucasians, the white race, the true Israelites? Because this is exactly what the Jews, or the Jewish Voice of Peace, is trying to do for the Jews. Now, where's the difference here? I'm having a hard time understanding, and I'm having even a harder time understanding why these American people, supposedly Christians, won't even listen to what Jesus told you. Beware the Jews who say they're Jews, but are not, or of the synagogue of Satan. What about that, Paul? I've got another article up here that I'm working on that I'll be putting up on Facebook, and it'll be up on my new, my revised website, freeamerican.com. I said, let me just share this first paragraph with you so you understand. At times like this, a song keeps running through my head, "Building the Perfect Beast. We have met the enemy, and he is us," said Don Henley. When we are faced with a problem to do nothing to correct the problem, then we're a major part of the problem itself. Now, you can read about a major part of my history and the history of the Patriot Movement in my book, Mystery Babylon, The New World Order Unveiled. This book was written after the attempt on my life in 2004. The same organizations that tried to demonize me for starting the militias in New Mexico went after the Christian identity, Christians, I've known for years. It covers the attempt on my life in 2004. This article brings you a little more up to date on my efforts to restore and continue the free American and spare Americans from the horror the Russian people face when the Bolsheviks, communists, murdered the Tsar and 60 million white Christian Russians. Hopefully some reading this will start listening to and sharing my radio and YouTube shows at freeamerican.com. Freeamerican.com is where you can make a donation. www.shop.freeamerican.com is where you can get low-cost PDFs of my books and magazines. My life is a twisted tale of sadness, danger, and loneliness. There are few happy endings. Many of my friends and guests have died, some just weeks after appearing on my show, and recently my friend V.K. Durham, Grandma, died alone in a hospital last December. What once worked no longer works. This applies to business and personal relationships. I no longer try to sell advertising. Too many have been threatened and cannot withstand the kind of attacks as Allison Weir of If Americans Knew has been subjected to at the end of this article. Nor will I advertise for products or people I don't know and can't vouch for. A few months ago, I came home to Texas, where I was born. For 45 years, I've traveled through 49 states and lived in a half a dozen. My fiction series, Trevor Cameron Terrace Hunter series, were written almost 30 years ago in southern Florida and loosely based on a continuation of John D. McDonald's popular Travis McGee series. My character was born in Texas to a woman named Molly B. that Travis slept with in McDonald's first McGee novel, The Deep Blue Goodbye. People accuse me of being that character, the son of Travis McGee. My answer was pretty standard. Nope. My character's younger, stronger, better looking, got more money, and killed more people. That usually ended the conversation, and I lost a lot of pseudo friends. And it was Miami where I published my first motorcycle magazine, Riders Exchange. It was there that I first published the story of Colonel Edward P. Catola's Operation Watchtower. And it was in Miami that I was first threatened by the CIA. All that's in my book, Mystery Babylon.
Sounds like a good read, man.
Yeah, it's all available here, but I'm also blocked in libraries, blocked around the country. Major, you can't go into Office Depot and pick up a computer and get in or read the Free American there. I found.
You probably have porn site that gets blocked.
What's that?
You're probably labeled as a porn site and gets blocked.
I am. They got, you know, you can't. There ain't no porno on my site, but I do have links to the protocols of the elders of Zion, and that's probably what happened.
Oh. Very bad boy. Shouldn't be doing that to Goyim.
Now, folks, if you just kind of follow this, hopefully you can see what's happening here. It's and that's why I need your help. That's why I ask for donations. And I don't do this website and this radio show to make a lot of money, because obviously we are targeted and they don't want you reading or listening to this show. Why? There's a war going on here, folks. I mean, how do you see this? How do you explain this? Because most people are they don't call television programming for nothing.
William programming.
Not a good thing, folks. Not a good thing. I care about your children. I care, and this is why I did this. When our press tried to cover up for the BATF, the same ones that gave guns to the drug lords, They didn't give guns to drug lords. They gave guns to their cohorts in the CIA, who run all of the drug cartels, and that's included in Mystery Babylon, the New World Order Unveiled. It's also available on Amazon. It's out there. You may have a hard time finding it, but all you got to do is go to freeamerican.com. Operation Watchtower, I discovered well over 20 years ago, the first time I got threatened by the CIA. They told me that story was pretty well vetted with Manuel Noriega's trial, so we're going to let you live this time, Clay. Just don't do something like that again. I don't know whether to be frightened or honored. I used to wonder, Paul, why would they be so concerned about an old biker from Texas? I read a lot. I study a lot. And I certainly study the whole New World Order from the biblical times forward. I mean, I even try to go back a few thousand years before the Bible was even written to explain to people what's happening. Now, I don't know whether I've got just a real overactive imagination, or maybe, just maybe, I've got a real good memory.
Oh, they hate that.
You got any of your music available that you could play for us? Sorry I wasn't more prepared to play some of that. But
Is it something that I can play right now? And then,
yeah.
Yeah, I can play something that I wrote with Mark Barner, man.
Yeah.
Okay, here you go, man. How was that, man?
That was great. That was great. I love your music, and your music may not have come through that well on this, but it's got a message. It's got a message, and I just like your work. I just like your work.
Thanks, brother. I'm going to be updating the Freedompalouza page this week, so if folks want to go to Freedompalouza, Pallooza.com, towards the end of this week, you'll see a list of the confirmed speakers, the bands that are playing. It starts Thursday, July 2nd, about 7 p.m. to welcome the campers. It is a camping event. It is family friendly. You can bring alcohol, but it has to be in cans, glass breaks, and kids will cut their feet. There's a lot of kids that run around. It is $50 for the weekend per person, or $20 per day. Parking's free. There'll be food there to buy. And it's just a place where patrons come to become friends, man. We have a bonfire every night. It's the best part of the evening. You get together and just chat. And that's where Jim Traficant's Plan for America was birthed.
hanging out around the fire, talking, and meeting people like Condit there. And it's where ideas get birthed and hatched, man, to free ourselves from the Jew enslavement, man.
I wish I could be there. I wish I had the funds. I don't fly. I don't fly anymore. I'm not going through. I am not going through.
NKVD checkpoint?
Yeah, I'm not taking my boots off for no foreigners. I ain't gonna do it. And I see that you've got to go, and that's okay. So do I. I've got an appointment with the VA that I have to make here shortly. If you can put up here on Skype, I think I've got most of your information up, but if there's anything that you need to put up, I'd like you can put it up on Skype, and I'll put it up on the website. You know, one of the things that I miss, and I just went to a militia meeting, and not too many weeks ago, and we sat around the campfire that night talking and watching the kids and the goats and the dogs playing. It was the most calming, the most peaceful feeling that I've had in years.
Oh yeah, anytime you're around brothers, man.
And you got 2 babies you got to feed, bud, so I'm going to let you go.
It's all good, buddy.
God bless you. Appreciate the work that you're doing. And you're welcome back anytime. You can pick a day out of my website, pick a day out, and I'll have you back on Freedompalouza.com, pokerface.com. People can order your CDs and listen to some of your music there.
You got it, brother.
All right.
Thanks for the support, play always.
All right. Paul, thank you. Paul Topete, Pokerface. Check the website out, freeamerican.com. The links will be there. All right. Let's see what else I got here. Been working on this new website. Trying to get that together. This is the default here. Okay. That website is updated. And we still got some time left here. I will have to cut off a few minutes early today. So let me put my apologies in advance here. Hey, let's check the chat room out here. what's going on. We had a few trolls come up there. Barbara Hartwell's, Dr. Lynn Horowitz, and his mistress, I guess. They've been out there trying to put anybody down that's trying to do anything. Let's see what we got going on in the chat room. Dr. Decharge, David, why don't you call in to either my Skype number, FearAmerican69. Let me see how you're doing. We had a couple of trolls in there, Barbara Hartwell, and I guess Scumley was on there. Let's see if we got anything else. Alright, let me look here. Alright, we've saved that. Here's what we need to do. Oh, yes, okay. Some news. Think it's getting close here, folks. U.S. Customs helicopter goes down after getting fired at by Mexico. Let's see what that story has to do. At first, we thought that Jade Helm might be something, an exercise they were putting together to get us, to protect us from this invasion from Mexico. Don't think that's happening. This is actually a direct act of war. Here's some news you won't hear in the mainstream media, and the White House definitely not comment. Obama is mounting a full-scale invasion of the United States by illegal foreigners and by dangerous drugs that come across the border. That's just collateral damage. All he cares about is Democratic voters at any cost. A U.S. Customs and Border Protection helicopter was fired upon from the Mexican side of the border and forced to make an emergency landing in Laredo, Texas. This report comes from Brandon Darby at Breitbart. The helicopter was in U.S. airspace and participating in the interdiction of a narcotics load coming from Mexico into the United States. The shooting occurred in an area known as Labodo Ranch, a subdivision of Laredo, Texas. A source who operates under the umbrella of the Customs and Border Protection told Breitbart, Texas, that the narcotics trafficking event was a well-coordinated effort with individuals participating on both sides of the U.S.-Mexican border. The shooting came from the Mexican side, and all individuals fled and got away. The individuals on the U.S. side also got away into the state of Texas. Another source close to the matter told Breitbart News, Texas, that at least 5 shots were fired from Mexico and 3 hit the CBP chopper. The source claimed that 2 shots hit the cabin and 1 hit the engine. Another source close to the matter told Breitbart, Texas, that 2 shots hit the engine, 1 hit the cabin. Both sources cited in this paragraph claimed that an agent in the cabin was not wearing a vest and had it stashed on the floor and that the vest being on the floor ultimately saved the agent's life. Agents explained that their vests are often placed below them in choppers because any rounds would come from below. And the Federal Bureau of Investigation released this statement to Breitbart, Texas, on June 5th, 2015, at approximately 5 p.m. during an operational flight near the Rio Grande River in Laredo, Texas, a U.S. Customs Border Patrol helicopter was struck several times by ground fire. The rounds penetrated damaged aircraft, forcing the pilot to make an emergency landing. The pilot sustained no injuries and no individuals on the ground were affected. The U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, FBI, Texas Rangers, Homeland Security Investigation, and Laredo Police Department responded to the scene. The FBI has initiated an investigation and will continue processing the crime scene with the Texas Rangers. Since this is an ongoing matter, no further details will be provided at this time, and I doubt that you will hear any more from the FBI about this. It's kind of like this Texas thing where the Waco Police Department is investigating the Waco Police Department for the shooting. I don't believe that's going to happen again. I don't think we're going to see any more real information on there. And here we've got Bush. I like this. Carlos Garcia says conspiracy theories. Known liars are those who question the conspiracy theories. Here's Bush addressing the UN, tells the world no 9/11 discussion. Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories. What do we got to say here? Let's see if I can get this working. And while it's playing, I'll get me another cup of coffee. Becky Bigor says, question everything.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories concerning the attacks of September the 11th. Malicious lies that attempt to shift the blame away from the terrorists themselves, away from the guilty.
Well, how about somebody else they killed, Robin Williams? Let's check him out.
Thank you. Now, before I go on, I just want to thank you all so much for making the efforts to be here tonight when you could have been at home enjoying yourself. It's the kind of self-sacrifice that makes this country the greatest country in the British Isles. Now, where are we? Oh, yes, our next act is someone I've actually heard of, an old friend of mine, star of Good Morning Vietnam, the Dead Poets Society, and Mrs. Doubtfire, yes. A big hand, please, for Mr. William Robin. Oh, I'm so sorry. Robbie Williams. Mr. Robbie Williams.
Thank you. Chuck, Cam, great to see you. Yo, what's up, Wales? House of Windsor, keeping it real? Obama, yeah! Yes, indeed, yeah! The dream came true. Great God Almighty, the dream came true. Obama! Yeah. Barack, which means blessing. Hussein, don't ask. Obama, which is an old Kenyan word for Kennedy, God bless us. And a lot of Irish people are going, his black Irish has an Obama. But he is an eloquent, eloquent man. I know at the inauguration, people are hoping that maybe he kicks it up a notch, going, what's up, Washington? Yo, let's keep it real right now. I'm going to bring out the members of my political posse, my cabinet right now. This is Little Ray Ray. This is G-Man, Kanye, Kobe, and Colin Powell, who's bad to the bone. We're going down Pennsylvania Avenue with the top down. We're going to build a basketball court in the Rose Garden. But we do have to take a moment of silence and bid a fond farewell to George W. Bush. Yes, it's the end of the reign of George II. The reign of error is over. America is officially out of rehab. Welcome. We have come back. Thank you. He is a gift to comedy, though he is a comedy pinata. I'm going to miss him. A man who said, I'm the decider. No, sir, you're the president. You make decisions. Decider is what they sell in the little jug. A lot of people, he also said, I am misunderestimated. And I went, no, not really. And you think, I have to think, what is he going to do after he leaves office? No, he cannot go on a speaking tour. That's a given. But I do think he could do stand-up comedy because he has 8 years of amazing material. He has stuff, and here's some of W's greatest hits. The question that's never asked, is our children learning? I just found out that a lot of our imports come from other countries. America, a country where you can put food on your family. Our enemies are looking for terrible ways to destroy this country, and so are we. And you have to have a little sympathy, though. W comes from a family where the smart brother is named Jeb. So you have to kind of take a moment, just a little moment of silence. And you can't blame the economy on him. They say the economy is essentially sound because people are considering buying things. That's like saying fat people are healthy because they might exercise. But no, we need help. We went to the world. I like the fact the American government went all around the world and the French were going, I feel so bad for you, huh? Oh, dear. It's like, who has $750 billion they can spare? And I'm going, the only people in the world, the Saudis. They decided, can you spare I will give you $750 billion. All I want is a picture of Angelina Jolie and Louis Walsh. I changed that reference for England. Thank God that worked. Thank you. But it was the economy, the whole thing, and the whole debate. Basically, it was we had Obama, Fresh Prince, McCain, Uncle Fester on the Addams Family. And the debates were so amazing. The first debate, two people speaking in complete sentences after 8 years of W. I was going, thank you, God! I was beginning to think our electoral process was like the Special Olympics of politics. I was like, no! The second debate, McCain started to get a little like, that one. And then the third debate, oh, wow, McCain was just like, he starts to look like your uncle who's on a new drug and he hasn't got the dosage right. And you find him wandering around the mall going, I've got a plan! I know where Osama is, tell it! I'm not going to tell you yet! Where's the plumber? Where's Joe? Where's the plumber? Get in the car, Uncle John, get in the car. But it was pretty wild, that whole concept. What is he doing there? It's like, and where? Where did they get Sarah Palin? Where did they find her? Wow! Did Ronald Reagan have a kid with Posh Spice? I don't know. It's like, gee. It's like she came from some sort of reality show. Project Running Mate. Here she comes. Here comes Sarah. Her hobbies are breastfeeding and helicopter hunting. She could skin a moose and balance a budget. Come on down. With that shucks and all kind of, oh my gosh, oh shucks. Polar bears are not endangered. They're just unlucky. Come on. It was pretty amazing, too. The last 2 days of the election, she let her hair down. She took her glasses off. I thought the last day she'd just be like, check it out. my northern slopes now, boys. Drill, baby, drill, drill. You think Bill Clinton was sitting at home the whole time going, where was she when I was in office?
Oops, hang on, we'll get back to him in just a moment. I see. Somebody sent me this one. Shared, I guess, by one of the people that I met at the militia meeting. And no, I'm not using names here. No use giving our enemies any more information than they need. This is a Texas judge. Maybe we actually got an honest judge here. We don't know. The story says Texas judge refuses to be a part of traffic ticket scheme, blows whistle on policing for profit. The WFA reported that none of the towns in question had ever been audited. What do we got here? Calvert, Texas. From Calvert, Texas, retired municipal court Judge David Viscardi has recently come forward to expose the use of quotas on speeding tickets. In an exclusive interview this week, Viscardi told WFAA that the police department and local counties were involved in a revenue collection schemes where officers had quotas for speeding tickets and judges were pressured to rush the cases through the court. Viscardi was a volunteer municipal court judge for over 15 years. When I first became a judge, we had one reserve officer. That's all he did on Friday and Saturday. Every other weekend, he'd write 100 citations. Their municipal court is their cash cow, he added. Viscardi explained how the pressure put on judges in the area caused him and many others to quit. The pressure to collect revenues in Calvert and probably other small towns in Texas is excessive. What happens is you got judges like me who say they've got better things to do with my time. Thank you very much and God bless you. I'll move on, Viscardi said. He also revealed that police departments from many small towns in the area of Texas funded their entire budgets with speeding tickets. According to Viscardi, some towns would not even be able to have a police force if it weren't for these speeding tickets. In the town of Calvert, for example, the local government refuses to pay for a prosecutor and would be unable to actually take speeding tickets to trial if a defendant wanted to fight back. In some towns, there are more pending cases than there are people. In the town of Hearn, there are only 4,400 people, but 12,000 municipal court cases pending. In Calvert, there's an average of 5 pending cases for every person in the town. The mindset of most small towns, including Calvert, and I can only speak for Calvert, is, after all, we're only Calvert, who's going to know? The problem is, Viscardi said, I knew. Now, WFAA reported that none of the towns in question had ever been audited. Here is the interview with WFAA. Small towns getting income from speeding tickets.
Police sitting, waiting for drivers to speed by. You know, last month we told you about this. It's the Dirty 30. 4 towns along 30 miles of Interstate 45 south of Dallas, writing a large number of traffic tickets. The story that we had then got a lot of response. Well, tonight, a voice from inside this Texas triangle, small towns within that triangle of cities in central Texas. One judge quit because there's a quota for ticket writing. Byron Harris has the story.
Revenue generated from speeding tickets pays for a lot of small-town police departments in Texas. We hear that without ticket income, a lot of towns couldn't afford a police force. But not everyone goes along with the game. Here's a story from the Texas Triangle as News 8 investigates.
Normally when they pull you over for safety, you know, they ask the safety kind of questions. You know, they tell you why they pulled you over. They ask for insurance, check your tags, things of that nature. You know, this was none of that.
Don Shaheen is one of the thousands of Texans who got speeding tickets in April. But it seemed to him, instead of being concerned about safety, the police officer just wanted to write a ticket and then get on to the next one.
This guy just took my license, gave me a ticket, and, you know, that was pretty much it.
When I first became a judge, Byron, we had one reserve officer. That's all he did on Friday and Saturday, every other weekend. He'd write 100 citations.
David Viscardi was a municipal judge for 15 and a half years in Calvert. Population 1,155. It's plunk in the middle of a triangle of towns in central Texas, which statistics show are huge ticket writers. Lott on Highway 77, Hearn on Highway 79, and Franklin on Highway 79.
But the municipal court is their cash cow.
Viscardi quit as judge because he was getting pressure from city officials to push speeding tickets through court.
The pressures to collect money in Calvert and probably other small towns throughout Texas is excessive, and that what winds up happening is you get good judges like me that say, hey, I got better things to do with my free time. Thank you very much, and God bless you. I'll move on.
In Franklin, population 1,618, they'll take in $500,000 in municipal court fees this year. Mostly traffic tickets. The police department, in fact, is funded by municipal court fees. Hearn would not tell us how much it collects in municipal court fees or how big its budget is. But state records show it ranks 43rd in Texas for pending cases in municipal court, which is a measure of how many traffic tickets it writes. Hearn has just 4,500 people. It has 12,000 municipal court cases pending. And Lott, population 759, is one of the top 20 towns in Texas for pending municipal court cases per capita. Lott is basically a stoplight on Highway 77, a stoplight with a speed trap. The town's mayor would not provide budget numbers, but state records show it has 3,400 municipal court cases pending, nearly 5 for each of its 759 residents. Calvert didn't call us back either. But state records show it has 5,159 municipal court cases pending. Nearly.
All right, let's keep going here. Texas.
5 for each of its 1,100 residents. Former Judge Viscardi says the town banks on no one taking their traffic ticket cases to court and simply mailing in a check. He says the city is incapable of trying cases because it has no prosecutor and doesn't want to pay for one.
The mindset of most small towns, including Calvert, and I can only speak for Calvert, is that after all, we're only Calvert, who's going to know? And the problem is, I know.
The state of Texas can fine cities that get more than 30% of their revenue from traffic tickets. In the past decade, the state comptroller has collected more than $2 million from a handful of cities for overzealous ticketing. But records show that no town in the Texas Triangle has ever been audited. Byron Harris, Channel 8 News.
All right. All right. Let's see what else we got. Come on, computer's working slow. My apologies. And I want to tell you folks, if you go to Facebook, Free American 69, which is what I'll be in a few days, you can see a lot of the stories that we've got up, the videos that we're doing with Pokerface, and etc., etc. Stories here that I'm not putting up on freeamerican.com. Simply don't have the room and don't have the time. But we've got people that are posting and giving us some good information. This comes from David Fulton. Talks about torture MDs. Labeled victims as crazy, continued torture, and escape accountability. Let's see what they've got to say. Talking about the Bush, Rockefeller, CIA cabals. The CIA doesn't operate in this country. My ass, that's who approached me. You need to understand that. Of course, that's been 10 years ago.
Folks, this is on a veterans blog, so they don't want me to be able to blog veterans blog, so they keep causing problems for me. I just set up a blog. This, a lot of these guys, disabled veterans, all right, they have a right to know what's going on with their benefits. They have a right to know what's going on with the government. Under the embassy, they keep making problems for me. So you try to disconnect and then reconnect. It won't let you. It keeps you connected. All right. That's one thing they do. They get locked in. So finally, I get to disconnect and reconnect, and sure enough, there's a problem. See, if you don't do that, the problem won't show it won't rear its head, and you also have to double up. All right. And this is there's a pattern of this. Thunder outside. We're in Bangkok. All right. So detecting additional problems. So short problem company.
Come on, get on with it here. What do you got to say?
This is County. We go Vietnam. Where we go? We go Cambodia. We go to Laos and Thailand. The same. Trouble with internet. Every place. Yeah. The same. Every country. 15 countries since 2009, folks. you by that. This show, the United States Embassy is, well, first off, I get to go some type of review at the embassy. They're saying that I'm confident in handling my own finances. All right, so I got the delusion, right? I'm crazy to handle my own finances. Although, what have they done? They blocked my retroactive check. They blocked my monthly checks. Left me here entitled with no income. But is able to survive, 7 months. Without checks coming in, right? And I have thousands of dollars left in the bank. But I'm incompetent. See, they're confident, right? They're going to help me by stopping my checks. Where are they? They stopped them almost a year and a half ago. Stopped the checks. Almost a year and a half. They don't get back to me. They hang up the phone. Oh, we don't have your money. Wait. They don't have the money. When I put it on the internet, now after I put it on the internet, now they're going to have me come in. They're going to help me out. If there's any incident, and they're going to stop my checks. Right? They want to set me up with a fiduciary. Okay? Someone, they're choosing to handle my financial affairs. But we have on video, officers from the embassy covertly drugging me. I got them doing identity assaults from the embassy. These officers working out of the embassy. We have them on video.
All right, this guy is a little slow for me, and I don't know exactly the point he's trying to make here.
The internet shop. And to get evidence of what the embassy's up to, I have a webcam going.
So I'm deleting this. But this one may be a little clearer here. This is about the VA and the FBI. Now, I'm cutting the show a little short today, probably 5 minutes short here, because the VA sends veterans' personal, medical, and financial information directly to the FBI and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, which can seize their guns in home rage. This story is up on Free American 69 Facebook, Free American 69. U.S. President Barack Obama delivers remarks after a meeting with Veterans Affairs Secretary Robert McDonald and others at the Phoenix VA Medical Center in Phoenix. Hang on. March 13, 2015. Obama announced the formation of a new advisory group made up of public officials and leaders from the private sector to advise on improvements to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs during an event at the Phoenix VA facility, where long waits for medical care sparked a political crisis for the administration. Now, frankly, folks, I've had very little experience. Took me 50 years to get my VA card. 50 years to prove that I actually did sign up for the Army. And didn't go to Vietnam. They tried to kill me before I got there. And I got my VA going there right now, so I'm going to be telling you what's happening at the VA. Don't have any guns in my house. ain't smoking any more pot in Texas. It's just ain't going to happen. Hopefully Texas will get the laws changed and we'll be interested. We'll be able to smoke once more. Won't do that anymore. Not giving them any reason to give me a problem. Not going to do that. I want my benefits. I want the pension that I was promised 50 years ago and didn't get. Documents obtained by the Daily Caller and interviews with American veterans reveal a shocking government program. The Department of Veterans Affairs disarming American veterans by getting them placed on the FBI's criminal background checklist. Veterans deemed mentally incompetent or financially incapable are finally speaking out about the errors in the system and the fearful harassment they and their families face from the federal government. And it all starts when vets go to the VA to get medical help. VA medical information is used to block veterans from possessing firearms. A Daily Caller obtained a memorandum of understanding between the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Federal Bureau of Investigation regarding the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. The document dated February 27, 2012 makes it clear that the VA must send health information to the FBI for its gun background check database. VA will provide an encrypted compact disc exchanged via mail to the FBI no less than quarterly for inter alia inclusion in the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, NICS, the memo reads. The memo defines the NICS database as a list of persons prohibited under federal law from receiving or possessing firearms. Data disclosed by the VA to the FBI under the terms of this agreement is to be entered into the NICS index. Okay, well, I would love to tell you more here. Love to tell you more, but I gotta go to the VA.